Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live, and I'd really appreciate it if you also hit that thumbs up button too. If you'd like to participate in on the discussion, you can join me in on my live streams. I do them most weekdays, or outside of the live streams. If you want to reach out to me, consider joining the Discord that I created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, if you're interested in getting some idea of the meals that we eat, we created a link to a Pinterest board that has a lot of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. Today is day 565 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I have been using a combination of extended water fasting and mostly focusing on eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 210 pounds. I have a little over 17 months to go to get to my goal. I'm really excited about getting there, and I can't wait to be at under 220 pounds. Pretty Girl's mom says, good afternoon, folks. Good afternoon, Pretty Girl's mom. I hope everything's going great for you today. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your guys' non-scale victories. Also, if you are on your diet and you're succeeding on your diet, I'd love to hear how you are succeeding on your diet. It really helps encourage me, and I know other people love to hear about people being successful on their diets. If you've fallen off the wagon or you're trying to get back on track, what are you doing to get back on diet or to create a plan for yourself? How are you making being on a diet easier than the alternative, easier than going and eating junk food and stuff like that? So we're going to get started here today. Let me switch to this page. Shy Girl saying, hey. Anthony saying, hey. Aunt Day's Kitchen says, I missed you yesterday, but your non-scale victory is that you did walk again today. You only did like a third of a mile, but you're going to walk again later. That is awesome. Try to keep yourself active, to do something, to be motivated, and to not make it like a schedule either is something that I definitely suggest with doing the working out and doing the like you said, the walks. You should strive to do that every day, and that way when you miss, you don't have a gap between when you last did it and when you do it again. So like if you set a schedule of doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something happens where you're unable to do it Friday. So you're like, okay, that sucks, but are you going to make it up that next day? Or are you going to wait till Monday to make it up? And then Monday morning rolls around and it has been since last Wednesday that you did anything and you find an excuse. So I definitely recommend making it a goal to do something every day or just to be more active than you were. Because I thought I was active, but I was really sedentary compared to how I live now and what I get done. Jane says, non-scale victory. Your feet no longer swell in the hot weather. That's awesome. Yes, I hate the swelling feet. I've talked about that a lot in the past. That was one of the signs that I saw that I really needed to do something. I'd let it go for a long time. I had extremely swollen ankles for years, essentially, with a small gap in the middle there. And it has been a huge, it feels so much better to just have that swelling gone and to know it's gone and to not push my finger into the skin and have a dent stay there for 30 seconds or a minute or however long, so getting that swelling down is awesome. Shy Royal says 33 of something is better than 100% of nothing. Yes. Yes. You gotta, just doing it as much as you can and do what you can do. Carrie saying hello, Carrie. I hope everything's going great. I hope everybody had a great evening since yesterday. And okay, Shai was actually talking about the yes. Yeah, it's great. So last night food, I should have this. I had it queued up and I think it's now not queued up because why would it stay that way? So yesterday it was Carrie had some meetings in the afternoon, so we had a pretty simple dinner overall, and it's probably one of my favorite dinners too because this specific meal here, I'll pull it up here so you can see it. So the noodles here, I think they're just like a brown rice noodle with some tomato sauce that Carrie makes that is salt, oil, sugar free. When I first started eating this way, I kind of ate a lot of this because I liked the taste of it. It was nothing super fancy, and it's definitely something when you start this diet where you're like, oh, you could definitely put salt on this and it would enhance the flavor. But I would use this as a gut filling meal. And I did that again last night. This was my one of my favorite things to have. And so I had that last night with 3 ears of corn, and then I took a picture of my cherry juice. I'm always talking about the cherry juice, but I never actually take a photo of it, I suppose, or show it on stream. But so that's the glass of cherry juice I had with dinner last night. Like I said, the brown rice noodles, they were great, and I really enjoyed those. The ears of corn, so I had 3 ears of corn. The first ear of corn was very disappointing, and I was kind of like, well, of course, because corn's not in season right now, because if it was in season, then I would know about it, because I live in Iowa, and we are the land of corn. So I was kind of disappointed that they were all going to be that way, and so I cracked open the second ear, and it was much better looking and much better tasting, very big kernels, bright colors, and I really enjoyed that for dinner last night. Pretty Girl's mom says that you feel like you needed something sweet today, which is unusual for you. You had a yummy green smoothie with kale, a cup of frozen cherries, 1.5 frozen bananas, and 1 teaspoon of raw cacao with water. Yay, that sounds really good. Yeah, those smoothies are awesome. But when you get them, you get the right ingredients in there, and that sounds awesome. The kale is always one that I had a bad experience with a kale smoothie, and it was before we had our high-speed blender, and it didn't blend very well, and I didn't blend it long enough, I guess, and so it was like this chunky kale. But you said it really hit the spot. I'm glad. Yeah, it sounds like a great smoothie. Frozen cherries, frozen bananas. That's awesome. So then I had that last night. This morning, I ended up having oatmeal. We had our oatmeal this morning with the spinach, mushrooms, onions. We make it with the West soy milk when we can get it. And for a while there, it was hard for us to get the West soy milk, but we've been able to get it recently. And I also had some Ezekiel bread with some nut butter. So I really ate a ton of food since yesterday, but that's kind of common for me, I guess, in my schedule of how I eat. I eat 2 meals a day. And then the weekends, I do my best to try to stay at 2 meals a day, but being at home and kind of grazing happens. But then Monday, Tuesday, I kind of rein everything back in and try to use those days to help kind of control my weight and get it down. So I wasn't much more on the scale though. And, I feel like when you eat that volume of food, it gets pushed through pretty quickly and in probably some cases faster than what your body can even process it. So I I really feel like eating a volume of food is not something to be worried about or trying to avoid, because I know that that's something that was every diet I have ever been on since I was the earliest diet I can ever remember being on was for wrestling when I was in high school. And that whole diet was 100% around eating no food. And I suppose that probably kind of helped train my brain as to what, you're supposed to do for weight loss. But when I was a freshman in high school, I was 250 pounds at the end of the freshman wrestling season. And there was a tournament that was out of state. It was like considered a national amateur tournament, which is like, you might have had to have qualified, but I think it was an open tournament. Like anybody that wanted to travel to that location. It was up in Detroit. We actually wrestled in the Silverdome, I think. It was in the football stadium in Detroit back in the late 90s. But to go up there, I had the option because I have like a later birthday in the year, that if I wanted to wrestle in the younger age group, I could wrestle in the younger age group. I mean, I was in that age group, I guess, but a lot of times the freshmen wouldn't be that age, I guess. And so I had the option to wrestle in that, or I could wrestle up, which I would be wrestling with the sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So I chose that I wanted to try to wrestle down, but in order to do that, I had to lose 25 pounds. And so my coach, what he had me do essentially, he was like, well, this tournament happens at the end of our school's spring break. Every March, the school lets out for a week. And the coach was like, well, you'd be in school from 8 a.m. till 3:30 p.m. every day. Why don't you come in and work out from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday leading up to this tournament? And then he put me on a diet. And so I showed up at 8 in the morning and I got on a stationary bike, and I just pedaled that stationary bike at there was a readout that was 3, 4, or 5. Like I had to keep it over a certain number. It might have been 6 or 7, but I just kept it over that number and just sat on a stationary bike for Aunt Day's Kitchen says, I joined Strava to stay motivated because I'm going to start training for Ragbri. I pick up my bike sometime next week, hopefully. Ragbri 2023 ain't that far away. And Carrie says, we'll be on Ragbri with our Instapot in tow. I don't know if you know that I am involved with Ragbri, but I have been running a charter on Ragbri for the last 13 years. So I am very familiar with Ragbri. Anyways, so yeah, that was what I did for that 5 days to get from 250 pounds down to 225 pounds. I went to school and I sat on a stationary bike, and the coach would come in and check on me every few hours. I don't even know if he stayed at the building, and I would just, exercise every time. If I get bored, I would kind of go and run around the lot a little bit, or in the wrestling room, or I would, take a break, for a little bit, but then I would go home and I would be allowed to eat, I think it was 4 ounces of meat. It was a ridiculously small amount of food, and then 16 or 32 ounces of water. And in 5 days, I lost 25 pounds. I was under 225 pounds. And I went and I wrestled at the tournament. I don't even remember how I did at the tournament. All I remember is a funny story that my niece would probably be embarrassed if I shared about McDonald's burritos. So, anyways, but that was kind of my first memory of actually having to do anything to lose weight. And of course, what I did to lose weight was pretty much starve myself and then exercise as hard as possible for 5 days. And that's something that a lot of people can do that for 5 days, but it's not something that you can maintain for any sustainable. I mean, probably not even 10 days, but that somebody could sustain working out as long as I was eating as little as I was eating. And what I'm finding now, and what I've known I've needed to find for the last few years, is a diet that's sustainable, and eating this way is 100% sustainable for me. Pretty Girl's mom says, what is it, you guys? Best friend said that she will follow me en route and cook for me. In an RV, LOL. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not sure what you were asking, Pretty Girl's mom, but RAGBRAI is a great time, and there's people of all shapes, sizes, ages that are out there doing RAGBRAI. I've seen kids probably younger than 10 years old out there riding on RAGBRAI with their parents. I've seen people as old as 74, 75 years that have ridden with our group on RAGBRAI. That it's just amazing what people are able to do, and the long, how long they're able to do it. And if you train right, RAGBRAI is obtainable for really just about anybody. So RAGBRAI is, Carrie's answering, is the Register's Great Bike Ride Across Iowa. So I can talk about this for hours probably. Anyways, so the Des Moines Register is a newspaper out of the capital of Iowa, which is Des Moines. And back in the 70s, a couple of the reporters wanted to do a story about the state of Iowa, and they decided to do it on bicycle. So they started off on the west side of Iowa, which is actually has a river that runs down the west side of Iowa called the Missouri River. And they started on that river, and they traveled across the state, stopping in small towns along the way and kind of creating this story. And they did a newspaper. They did a whole bunch of articles in the newspaper about what was going on, and it became a popular thing that they had a second ride and then a third ride. And then this year is the 49th time that they've done it. They did miss it in 2020. So it's been 50 years since they started doing this bike ride, but it's grown to have a huge mass of people that do the ride. They have, I would say, between 10 to 12,000 bike riders that ride between each town every day, starting from the west side, going to the east side. And it ends at the Mississippi River, which is on the east side of Iowa. And they travel each day. They go between 35 miles. And then this year they have a day that they're going to end up having to ride over 100 miles to get to the next town. And they do that each day. Along the route, the towns expect riders coming, and so they prepare food that they sell. So it's kind of an opportunity for a lot of the small clubs and organizations and churches to provide meals to these people and kind of create these fundraisers. You see all kinds of great aspects of the state of Iowa. I really am proud of the state that I live in and have grown up in, and it's been a lot of fun. Auntie's Kitchen asks, Charter, what do you run and do you provide meals? So we provide services for two of the charters. One of them is called the Argo Riverbend Bicycle Club, and the other one is the Quad City Bicycle Club. They are two bicycle clubs that have been doing RAGBRAI for many years. I know the Quad City is, I believe both of them have had members participate in the ride for over 40 years. And so we haul their bags across the state in our vehicles while they're bike riding. So they don't have to haul their own tents and things like that. We have about 300 bike riders that we haul their bags for. But we do not provide any food. We don't sell any food. We do have like snack food around, but we also have part of the service that we offer is we have coolers filled with water and sodas and drinks for them to have when they get back to camp. And then we also provide bathrooms and showers with them. So yeah, Jane Bruner says it's a traveling bike ride party across the state, most fun on the road. Yeah, it's been a lot of things over the years. Back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, it was a huge party scene. Since probably 2005 on, it has definitely grown a lot and been kind of a bucket list items for people. I know it was in some sort of article about being one of those things that you should experience. And it has, it's great, you know, because there's all different types of people, like I said, and I get to see people from every kind of level of commitment with it, where I have people that ride with our group that have ridden every year. I have people that ride every year, every other year, or every few years, or when they have the free time that they can do it, because it takes 7 days to do the bike riding. You need to take pretty much 10 days off of work to get everything done logistically, because you have to get to the state. We have to bus you across the state. So you can be on the opposite side of the state so that when you get done, your car is there. And so it's a lot of a time commitment, but it's a fun thing. And Day says, please, I'm here for it. As long as you want to talk RAGBRAI, I will be on this live. I'm addicted to the idea, but I'm not going to be ready by 2022. Yeah, it's something that you need to have the training in to do it. We highly recommend that you have ridden your bicycle at minimum 550 miles in that year prior to going out and doing the ride, just so you have the experience on the saddle. But more riding than that is even better. The nice thing about it is that it is not a consistent bike ride. So a day where you have to ride 60 miles, you're not getting on your bike starting at mile 1 and getting off your bike on mile 60. Because the towns set these things up and the farmers have vendors that rent part of their land out, and they sell pork chops and they sell breakfast sandwiches. And there's also a caravan of vendors that follows and sets up along the route to sell people things so that they can get through the ride. And so you're doing, instead of doing 1 60-mile bike ride, you're doing like 5 12-mile bike rides. You know, you might ride for 10 miles and stop your first time and get breakfast or have something, and then get on your bike and ride for 15 miles, get off, and they might be selling ice cream at that place, or there's a few places that sell vegan things. It is tougher if you are vegan, but there are better options, or it's becoming more popular. Even one of the towns has a vegan option as on their main advertisement for food. So that's pretty cool too, that's growing. But the anyways, yeah. And so you don't have to worry about it being extremely tough. And if you do get to a position where you can't go on, they have what they call a SAG vehicle, and you are able to get a ride either to the midway town and get your bike fixed if it's something like you broke a chain or you got a flat tire or something. there'll be bike shops along the way that travel with the ride that help people repair their bikes so they can get back on the road. And if you can't make it, you can get a ride into the overnight town too. So, Gene says Carbo Hut is your favorite go-to vendor. Yeah. That I don't believe that they were there last year. I don't know if they're coming back. I'm not sure if, what Carbo Hut has going on. Everything kind of got shook up in 2020, with them not doing a ride, and some of these places haven't come back. I know that there was options out there for people last year in 2021. I just don't remember what they said they were at this time. We definitely survived. Me and Carrie survived last year because we brought our own Instapot, and we were able to just make baked potatoes anytime we wanted, or make meals pretty quickly through the Instapot. For me, it's a pretty stressful week, so I was being kind of made to eat a couple times because I was running around doing other things and not eating. But yeah, it's a great time. Your thought is baked potatoes. Yeah, that's about the easiest thing that you can do. There's lots of corn too, but it's you got to watch out for that butter because people love the butter on their corn. So yeah, that is I know what RAGBRAI is, and so I've been involved with it since 2009. I got hired to help carry baggage for the Riverbend Bicycle Club. At that time, really enjoyed the people, really enjoyed being able to spend a week outside, and it's been a motivator, and I've lost weight being motivated because RAGBRAI was coming up. And I've had RAGBRAI ruin my routine with my diets at the same time. And so I kind of have this with my diet. I have this love-hate relationship because I know how difficult it is to be outside for those 10 days, especially if it's really hot. So I try to lose as much weight as possible. And then I get out there and I don't have any good food choices, and my routine's completely different. And so I start stopping at Taco Bell and eating junk food. So that was kind of my dietary experience with RAGBRAI. And if you love eating RAGBRAI, there's lots of food out there to eat. There's people have sayings about gaining weight on RAGBRAI. So Carrie says, hi, she was wondering if I was going to talk about my RAGBRAI ruining my diets. Yes, that's a lot of, we all set all kinds of different goals. You set a goal. I want to lose as much weight as possible before this event. For me, it was RAGBRAI a lot of times, or I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to lose 20 pounds. And they're great goals, and you work super hard to achieve those goals, but you don't have anything past that. And that's a big reason why I chose this 3-year challenge, because I never thought about doing it for that long. I always fantasized about finding the new lifestyle that I was going to eat and doing it, but I never really thought of committing, how long that commitment is. And it really is, my commitment isn't to stick to this for 3 years. My commitment is really to stick to this for 30 years. But when I started this, it was 3 years, because that's as far forward as I could fathom. Now I can see myself eating this much better way for the rest of my life, and so I have a better commitment to it. But yeah, RAGBRAI was one of those, the graduation party that you have coming up this summer that you're trying to lose weight for, the wedding that you're trying to lose weight for this summer. RAGBRAI was my thing for many years because I know how difficult it was going to be. Aunt Day says, I'm buying a Street Strider, so it's a standing 3-wheeled bike, like an elliptical machine on wheels. Okay, there's lots of things like that out there. That's the cool thing about RAGBRAI too, is that you'll see 3-wheeled bikes that are like ellipticals. You'll see people on unicycles. You'll see people riding on this thing that has, 6 seats on it, that has bar stools. You see people that are dressed like bananas, or they'll be in these capsule bikes as well. So there's lots of different ways people ride RAGBRAI. There's the first year we did it, one of the nicest guys, or one of the guys I got along with the most, he was about our age, and the demographic age for RAGBRAI is a little bit higher than my, it's probably 45, probably 50 to 55 is like the median age for people. So when I started this and I was in my 30s, or actually my late 20s, there wasn't a lot of people around in our group, I guess, because we are in these larger we deal with these larger social groups and we're younger. So anyways, he rode it on a BMX bike, and that was a single speed BMX bike. And he crushed it, but he was young and he loved riding bikes. What are our favorite air fryer or air fryer meals? Gosh, we don't do a ton of air fryer meals. I would say that the tofu kind of stuff Carrie has put together, like a tofu that has a marinade on it, and then it's put in the air fryer, would be probably the thing that we use the air fryer that I've eaten from the air fryer. Like the kids end up getting a lot of things from the air fryer. But we just, we bought our Breville because it had an air fryer in it, and we thought that we were going to be doing our own potatoes, like making our own French fries, and then we don't end up using it for that much. I just had something come to mind though, and I lost it as soon as it came to mind. Maybe Carrie will. Oh, tortilla chips. I don't know if she uses the air fryer to make the tortilla chips, but that would be something that I would say it's good for the air fryer. Carrie says we don't do a ton in the air fryer. You do asparagus and veggies. Okay. Well, the eggplant parmesan I really like in the air fryer. So there's one that I was missing as well. And then Carrie says that we've seen those types of bikes out there, the ellipticals, and then there's been people that have even done RAGBRAI rollerblading. So so it's kind of cool that you see people like, from all walks of life, and there's people that aren't from Iowa at all. And the vegetation's just, it's a lot of corn. It is lots of fields of corn. So that is definitely what you see when you're riding. But Anthony says, air fryer. Yeah. It's just a neat event. And if you're into bike riding and you like doing long bike rides, it's a fun thing to do. But definitely take the time to train. If you're doing it on an elliptical, you don't have to worry about training your butt. But there is a guy that I really, he's a pretty awesome guy that he rides with our group, that we the Quad City Bicycle Club group, that they call him Bareback, and he rides a bicycle that doesn't have a seat. So he doesn't sit down at any point while he's riding across the state, which is pretty cool that he's able to do that. He's also a really nice guy. He stops and helps anybody who is broken down, and makes sure that if he can't help them, that he gets somebody there that can help them. And he just wants to make sure everybody has a safe and fun ride across the state. So, but it's pretty cool that he rides it without a seat. Carrie says he's kind of famous. Yes, on RAGBRAI, lots of people know who he is, and he's a super nice guy. So, well, I didn't know what I was going to talk about today, and then somebody brought up RAGBRAI, and I'm sorry I didn't talk about diet stuff at all. I hope you guys don't mind. But I am going to get out of here today. I need to get home and get a few things done. I want to let you guys know I really appreciate everybody joining in on the chat today and participating. I've had a ton of new subscribers. I think I'm only like 20 away from hitting 1,000 now. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit it, especially if you've been listening to me for 35 minutes today talk about ragbri. Also like the video. If you guys haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up. You don't have an event like ragbri or ragbri is what I got motivated to lose weight. You don't have a celebration like a birthday party or a date night, something this weekend that's more important than getting your health and your overall well-being in control, taking control of it. Nobody ever gets to their goal weight, looks back and says, I wish I would have waited. Everybody says that they wish they would have started sooner. Don't fall for the two myths of moderation, the myth of moderate change, the idea that if you can just slowly start adding healthy foods into your diet, that eventually you're going to start preferring those healthy foods over the junk food that you're still eating. It's not going to happen. You have to make big changes in your diet in order to see these big changes. Also, the myth of moderation, the moderate consumption, the idea that eating a little bit of something unhealthy is okay. It's not. You wouldn't tell an alcoholic that having just a shot of something is okay. It doesn't work that way. You need to abstain from so many of these processed foods and these things that these companies are using to keep us addicted. And you can't survive on a moderate amount of food. You can't, for a little while, you can eat 4 ounces of beef for a week, but you can't do that for 6 months and still be satisfied. Your body will find a way to convince you to start eating something that's junk, and you just start going right back down that path that you started on. Carrie says, we're having a new recipe tonight, the vegetable jambalaya. Summer's coming, eat more raw. Yes, I think eating raw is definitely something that we could do more of. Those fruits and vegetables are going to be in season, so don't be afraid to eat the food that's in season. That salad we had Tuesday night was amazing, and it's just going to keep getting better all summer. And Dave's Kitchen says your best friend came up with a vegetable oil-free, SOS-free roll taco that you make in the air fryer. You'll do a video on it at some point. That's awesome. I feel like I didn't make big changes, but I feel like my husband did. Hi, everyone. Hi, Blind Guy, his wife, and their life. I'm actually just getting out of here today, but I hope you guys are having a great day and everything's going well with you. Pretty Girl's mom says, hey, hi, wife. Yes. You guys all have a great evening. I will be back on tomorrow, and maybe I'll talk about diet instead of something different tomorrow, huh? But you guys all have a great evening, and we'll see you later.